Good morning to everybody. The theme of our lesson today is traditional stories, fairy tales. Ребята, сегодня поговорим с вами о сказках. Fairy tales. Open your vocabularies and write down new words. Fairy tale. Сказка. Fairy tale. Right. Правильно. Right. Wrong. Неверно. Wrong. Fantasy world. Мир фантазий. Fantasy world. Characters. Персонажи. Characters. Woodsman. Лесник, дровосек. Woodsman. Forest. Лес. Forest. The story take place in. The story take place in. I know that all of you read many fairy tales, but sometimes we do not know how to call them in the English language. Ребята, наверняка многие из вас читают сказки, но иногда мы не знаем, как они называются на английском языке. Look at the first picture. What fairy tale is it? I think that you know. Zolushka. We call this fairy tale in Russian, and in English we call it Cinderella. Cinderella. The next fairy tale, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Dwarfs. Гномы. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Златовласка и три медведя. Немногие читали эту сказку, но наверняка каждый из вас читал сказку «Маша и медведи». The next fairy tale. Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots. Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood. Let's work with our pupils' books. Open your pupils' books at the 19th page and look at the second exercise. Our task is to choose. Наше задание, ребята, с вами выбрать. I read fairy tales. Я читаю сказки. What for do you read fairy tales? Для чего вы читаете сказки? Have a good time. To learn what is right and what is wrong. To visit a fantasy world. Choose your own answer and write down in your notebook. Выберите свой ответ и запишите в тетрадку. Exercise number 4. Listen and number. Послушайте и пронумеруйте. There are 4 fairy tales here. The first is Aldar Kosse's coat. Пальто Алдара Косе. Goldilocks and Three Bears. Златовласка и три медведя. The Magpie and the Fox. Сорока и лиса. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Белоснежка и 7 гномов. Listen and number.
1,
Oh, a shiny gold jacket and a shiny gold watch. I can have them all.
As you can see, there is an answer here. The first is the magpie and the fox. The second one, listen very carefully.
2,
This chair is too big. This chair is big too. This chair is just right.
Chairs, стулья. This chair is big. Этот стул очень большой. What fairy tale is it? How do you think? Write your answer in your notebook. Запишите свой ответ в тетрадку.
3,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all?
Mirror, mirror. Зеркало, зеркало. What fairy tale is it? How do you think? Write down your answer.
4.
Please take my coat, my horse, and my gold too.
Take my horse, take my coat. Write down your answer. Don't forget to take a photo and send me. I have a task for you. To what is a fairy tale? And complete the table. Посмотрите сказку и заполните таблицу. Good characters, положительные герои, bad characters, отрицательные герои. The story take place in. Где же происходит история? Complete the table, please. After the watching. Заполните таблицу после просмотра.
Gigabox!
This is the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near a big forest. Her grandmother had made her a beautiful red cloak with a big red hood, which she wore every time she went outside. And so everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said,
Grandma isn't feeling very well. Will you take this basket of food through the forest to her cottage?
Yes, Mother.
said Little Red Riding Hood.
I sure would love to see Grandma.
She put on her red cloak and she pulled up her red hood and she took the basket of food into the forest.
Remember,
Her mother called after her.
don't talk to any strangers along the way.
I won't.
Little Red Riding Hood promised, and she skipped down the path and into the woods. Little Red Riding Hood did not have to worry about getting lost in the forest because she knew the way to Grandma's house very well. But along the way, she saw some beautiful wild flowers growing near the path.
I bet Grandma would really love these.
She said to herself, and she stopped to pick a few.
Hello, little girl.
Said a deep, growling voice from behind her. Little Red Riding Hood was very startled. She spun around and saw a big bad wolf standing in the shadows between two trees.
Hello.
Said Little Red Riding Hood. She didn't know that the wolf was bad, and she had already forgotten her mother's words about talking to strangers.
Where are you going on this fine day?
Asked the big bad wolf.
I'm going to my grandma's cottage on the other side of the forest.
Said Little Red Riding Hood.
She isn't feeling very well, so I'm bringing her this basket of food and these flowers.
What a sweet girl you are.
Said the big bad wolf. He smiled and showed his mouthful of sharp teeth. The big bad wolf was quite hungry, and he was not interested in the basket of food.
I had better be going.
Said Little Red Riding Hood,
Bye.
and she skipped off down the path. The big bad wolf's stomach grumbled and growled with hunger, and suddenly he had an idea. As quick as he could, he ran through the forest all the way to Grandma's cottage. The sneaky wolf opened the door very quietly and found Grandma asleep in her bed. He picked up the old woman, opened his great big mouth, and he swallowed poor Grandma in one gulp. Then the big bad wolf climbed into the bed and pulled the blanket up to his chin. He put on Grandma's glasses and her nightcap, and he waited for the little girl to arrive with her flowers and basket of food. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage, she opened the door quietly and found Grandma lying in bed.
Hello, Grandma.
She said,
Mother told me you weren't feeling well, so I brought some food and some flowers. Do you like them?
What a sweet little girl you are.
said the wolf in his fake grandma voice.
Come closer, my dear.
Little Red Riding Hood took a step closer, and she noticed that something looked a little different about Grandma.
My,
She said,
what big eyes you have, Grandma.
All the better to see you with.
said the big bad wolf.
Come closer, my dear.
Little Red Riding Hood took another step closer to the bed.
My,
She said,
what big ears you have, Grandma.
All the better to hear you with.
replied the wolf.
Come closer, my dear.
Little Red Riding Hood took one more step closer.
My, what big teeth you have, Grandma.
She said in surprise.
All the better to eat you with.
Growled the big bad wolf. He jumped out of the bed, and as he opened his great big mouth, Little Red Riding Hood shrieked and tried to run, but the hungry wolf grabbed her up and swallowed Little Red Riding Hood in just one gulp. Outside the cottage, a woodsman happened to be walking through the forest when he heard Little Red Riding Hood's shriek of surprise. He hurried inside and he saw the wolf with his huge round belly. The woodsman grabbed the big bad wolf, turned him upside down and shook him by his feet. Little Red Riding Hood came tumbling out of the wolf's mouth and Grandma followed. The three of them chased the big bad wolf out of the cottage, out of the forest and over the hill. The big bad wolf ran for his life and was never seen again. Little Red Riding Hood learned her lesson and she never, ever talked to strangers again. The end.
Remember to please like the video and subscribe to our channel so you can stay updated on all our new videos. Bye!
Complete the table, please. Write down your answers in your notebooks. Don't forget to take photo and send me. Запишите свои ответы в тетрадку и не забудьте сфотографировать и выслать мне. Thank you for the lesson. Goodbye.